Back in August, Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller of the United States Marine Corps started sharing social media posts and videos criticizing military leaders for the debacle in Afghanistan and for their failure to take responsibility for the disastrous withdrawal. Here's a clip of one of those videos.
We have a Secretary of Defense that testified to Congress in May that the Afghan National Security Force could withstand the Taliban advance. We have chairmen of Joint Chief, who the Commandant is a member of that, who's supposed to advise on military policy. We have a Marine combatant commander. All of these people are supposed to advise, and I'm not saying we've got to be in Afghanistan forever, but I am saying, did any of you throw your rank on the table and say, hey, it's a bad idea to evacuate Bagram Airfield, the strategic air base, before we evacuate everyone? Did anyone do that? And when you didn't think to do that, did anyone raise their hand and say, we completely messed this up?
Well, not long after that video was posted, Lieutenant Colonel Scheller was relieved of duty, but he continued to share posts and was eventually told by superiors to stop posting to social media altogether, an order he immediately ignored by posting about the gag order. Well, about a week ago, the Lieutenant Colonel Scheller was placed in a pre-trial confinement and now faces 4 possible charges. Joining me now to talk about his situation is his mother, Cathy Scheller. Ms. Scheller, welcome to Washington Watch.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, your son, I believe, has another hearing tomorrow. Is that correct?
He has his first hearing tomorrow. They had one last Thursday, and they postponed it to Tuesday so they could have the weekend to try to work things out. We are praying heavily over here and calling for everyone else to pray that the military will have a softening of their heart and will accept his resignation that he placed a month ago and release him and let him go back to his family.
Now, I want to point...
The hour's getting late.
Yes, it is. I want to point out what he said in that video, because what he did is he challenged the military brass to say, hey, if you disagree with this, why didn't you lay your stars on the table? Which is the appropriate response. And then he did the same. He said, I can't go along with this, and that's why he resigned. He gave up his retirement after 17 years. Just needed 3 more to finish retirement. He said, I cannot go along with this. So I believe he did the right thing in that sense, and he had a right to speak out. Now, all he's wanting to do is to separate from the military, but they've put him in jail, essentially, that's the brig, saying that he's a flight risk. I mean, he's resigning himself. How is he a flight risk?
I don't know that they said that he's a flight risk. I have not heard that. But they did put him, pre-trial confinement is solitary confinement in the brig with no access to visitors or telephones. But they are saying, I understand 12, 14 days of confinement because of COVID. I don't get why he cannot call his family, but there it is.
So in question is whether or not he will be dishonorably discharged or allowed to resign and leave the Marine Corps with an honorable discharge. Is that what's in question now?
Or if they decide to press charges tomorrow, he will stay in prison until he gets a court-martial, which could be, I don't know, because 6, 8, 10, 12 months. And then because the way the Marine Corps is now set up, the general that brought the charges picks the judge picks the jury, the judge that reports to the general also picks the prosecuting attorney. So he's going to have no chance. So we're expecting that he will have a very long prison sentence.
Let me, again, Cathy, make sure that I portrayed this correctly. He said he was resigning, and that's when he continued to make these statements. So he did what he asked the commanding generals to do, and that was, if they disagreed with this, to put their bars, their stars on the table, and that's exactly what he did. Is that correct?
It is correct. But they refused to accept his resignation. They said that he serves at the pleasure of the president, and they did not accept his resignation.
That's amazing.
And then they continued to apply pressure, and, he started looking a little off because there was a lot of pressure, and then he regrouped. But he felt compelled. He felt like this was the right thing to do. He has always been a moral man full of valor and standing up for people, for his service members. And he does a lot of work with suicide prevention. And he knew if there was not accountability, people were going to be killing themselves.
So,
and that is the truth.
Cathy, how can folks help?
Well, first of all, pray. Tomorrow is the hearing. We've been asking people to contact their congressperson because it's become very political, and we really need to get the word out and get people to turn around. And we are asking that a lot of people donated at the site for him and his family at pipehitterfoundation.org. It's been an outstanding response, but just really pray at this point that they release him.
We will definitely do that. And Cathy, as a Marine veteran myself, please, when you do talk to him, tell him I said Semper Fi. Thanks for standing.
Thank you. Thank you.